Welcome to Dr. Mary Travel Best's 5 Steps to Solo Travel Guide. This is for women like you who may need extra support traveling. Please share this podcast with your mom, with your aunts, with your friends, and leave some feedback in the comments. I returned from a 90-day trip around the globe. My mission is world peace. I was sustainable when I could by using local transportation, and I carried a small backpack. In this episode, the FAQ is, what was the most memorable experience on the 90-day trip? Today's destination is Mekong Delta, Vietnam. Today's mistake, booking last-minute hotel rooms. And travel advice, have a backup plan, even with pre-clearance options. So, the FAQ, what was the most memorable experience on the 90-day trip? And the answer, one of the most memorable things was going to a community protest movement in Tel Aviv, Israel. The family I was staying with, including a mom and her 2 children, was planning to attend a protest. She asked me, would I like to come? I said yes, even though I had not been to a protest in decades. It was peaceful. It was attended by about 50 people in front of the Pardes Hanna City Hall. I did not understand the words, the signs, or the full message, but I felt the personal impact that it was so important to these people to be heard and seen. See the show notes for more details on this very important mission. Now for today's destination, the Mekong Delta in Vietnam. Going through 6 countries, the Mekong River flows 3,000 miles from the Tibetan Plateau to the South China Sea. It boasts the world's largest inland fishery. It accounts for up to 25% of the global freshwater catch and provides livelihoods for millions of people. You may even see live crocodiles, and even though I didn't, you can swim in the river. From the lobby of my Ho Chi Minh City hotel, Me Gusta, I booked a 2-day tour for $59 plus $6 for a single room. This was a low-budget tour, but I didn't know that then. The tour was to the Mekong Delta. So here are a few highlights of that English guided tour. The Mekong Delta is southern Vietnam. It's a vast river. It's just a maze of rivers. It's got swamps and islands, and it's got these floating markets. It's got Khmer pagodas, rice paddies, and we've got boats here. That's the primary means of transportation. And you can do lots of tours in the region, which also start where I started in Ho Chi Minh City. Now, my 2-star hotel was with cockroaches, and the breakfast was basically 2 eggs on a plate, and that was it. I asked for and got 1 more egg. So here's where some courage kicked in after breakfast. I was directed to ride on the back of a motorcycle during the morning rush hour to catch up with the tour bus in light rain. That's how I got to my bus on day 2. I had no choice, so I agreed. We rode over a bridge that had collapsed in 2007, said my tour driver, Andy, from Sunrise Tours. Later that day, Andy was the one who arranged my adjusted bus trip. And to get to the public bus, instead of going back to Ho Chi Minh City, he got me to Phu Quoc. I got picked up at the farm place. So before getting on this bus, I had to remove my shoes. That was how they kept the bus clean. This was a public bus. We stopped at a gas station to use the restroom, which was filthy. So I took this Phu Tub bus to Can Tho and a van to the bus station, and then I took the Super Dong ferry to Phu Quoc. It was really complicated. Just basically had to get to the Phuong Trang bus station and then to head to Rock Gia. Now, I knew none of these places before. But finally, when I got to the island of Phu Quoc, I felt like this is Hawaii to me. Immediately, I felt the tropical breezes, and much of the tension was now gone. I got a massage, the first thing. I really needed it, because I had been feeling miserable with a sinus infection for the past 2 days. Now, without a hotel reservation, I walked along the main downtown commercial area with lots of touristy places until I found a nice place with a room. Now, the room was noisy because there was construction going on right on the other side of my wall. So I asked to be moved, and I was. I got to stay in a beach bungalow, and I was able to rest. And once I felt really good, I got up and I swam in the ocean at sunset. I slept well. But I rose early for a 5 a.m. taxi to the airport. This was me. I was the first one at the airport. And my flight was on Vietjet Airlines. Again, there was nobody at the airport when I got there. And this was a small island with no freeways. It had 1 to 2 lanes each way. There were lots of motorcycles and lots of noisy horn beeps. And now for my mistake. Booking last-minute hotel rooms. It was a mistake to book last-minute hotel rooms in Vietnam. I should have done my research before and picked some more congenial places. Instead, I got what were leftovers that no one else wanted. I was not sad because I didn't want to experience, I did want to experience what the locals experienced, and I had that. So if I was to do it again, I would have planned better and been more sure about what my rooms would look like. Now, today's travel advice is to have a backup plan, even with something called pre-clearance options, such as in Dublin, Ireland. Now, this is important because if your trip is interrupted, there could be consequences. This didn't happen to me, but I heard about some passengers who arrived in Dublin Airport expecting to fly home to the USA. But when they arrived, the customs office was closed, so they missed their flights. Instead, they had to pay a lot to book on other airlines. It cost them dearly. If they had a backup plan or had looked into this situation, they could have avoided this issue. The show notes have details on this pre-clearance option. I want to bring meaning to your travels, so please connect with me. Find the 5 Steps to Solo Travel. It's a series on Amazon. And don't forget, the show notes will help you out. Please support this podcast with a review.